WCBI News at 6 starts now.
This is the debris-filled road first responders had to travel to get to victims in Pickens County, Alabama this afternoon. 3 people are confirmed dead there. We have the latest from the storms just ahead. Thank you for joining us tonight, everyone. 3 people are dead after a strong and powerful tornado ripped through a Pickens County community today. The sheriff there calling it a tragic day in that community. Our Scott Martin, along with meteorologist Trevor Burchett, spent the first few hours after the twister on the ground there in Settlement. They give us a look at the devastation.
We're standing right here on Highway 86, and just about a mile up the road here, that's where the brunt of the tornado damage is. Sheriff Todd Hall took the media on a brief tour to get a look at some of that damage, and what you're about to see is it's just absolutely devastating. Chaos. That's how Larry Jones describes the moments after the twister.
Houses missing, people missing.
Jones immediately began to check on his neighbors. Tragically, not all of them survived the storm.
Some were devastated, and some was not alive.
Pickens County Sheriff Todd Hall says the homes where the 3 people lost their lives were unrecognizable.
I was out there and I saw the structure. I can't tell you. I don't know what kind of structure it started out as. You know, there was one foundation that was completely devastated, and then the other one also, you couldn't tell what it started out as.
What were once homes in the small community of Settlement are now rubble. The damage and lives lost, Sheriff Hall says, will leave a hole in the heart of Pickens County.
Anytime you have a loss of life, it's a very devastating thing for all people, you know, across our whole community. And like I said, this community here was very vital to Pickens County, and it's going to be a huge loss.
Dozens of volunteers spent Saturday trying to find what could be saved, but the help will be needed in the days to come.
Today, everybody's going to be out reaching out and doing everything they can, but tomorrow is going to be a different day. And these people are going to need long-term care and long-term resources. So we're reaching out to some of the resources at this time. Jones is thankful his family is safe. However, it's a day that now leaves a lasting mark.
Scared. Scared.
And now the sheriff says that no one will be allowed in for the rest of the day. We also know that there are no shelters being open. That's because everybody that was affected, they do have some place to go. We'll, of course, continue to follow this story in the coming days. Again, 3 people tragically passed away in this storm. Reporting in Pickens County, Alabama, Scott Martin, WCBI News.
And right now, the victims' names are not being released. Of course, our first alert team was following this storm all day today. Things are a lot quieter now. Let's go over to our first look with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
Yes, much quieter indeed, but it was a wild ride the last 24 hours for much of the South. This line of severe storms already into Georgia, which produced some widespread damage from Texas all the way through Alabama, including right here in the home front. There's over 600 reports of severe weather. You can't even tell where is where on this map. A lot of that straight line winds coming on through. Closer to home here, there were reports of trees down across the area. We did have some power outages as well. A lot of widespread damage, particularly in the Delta and especially off to the east in Alabama. The other thing we are still concerned about is there is flooding on roadways in the area still into tonight. Remember, turn around, don't drown. We've had 2 to 4 inches across a good chunk of our area. This is a look at the tornado that came through on this morning. You can see that circulation right there. This is detecting the debris. And so that's something that we are watching here as we move on forth, Andrea. That signature popped up and was really concerning. Something we had been worried about for a long time, although we know from seeing the damage out there,
sure,
a lot of it was from straight line winds. That tornado, unfortunately, probably the worst of it today.
We knew coming into this day that there was the potential for some widespread damage, or at least damage someplace. What happened when this system crossed into Alabama?
The timing was really key for this system. It was a race from the line moving to the east and instability coming from the south. And for us here locally, most of that instability waited until it got north into the Alabama area. So a lot of significant damage in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and points to the east. Our area still has damage, but a lot better than what we think it could have been.
All right, and a good amount north of us here, which we'll see a little bit later on in this newscast. All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, in Starkville, the heavy rainfall brought some flooding to streets and neighborhoods. WCBI's Tyler Hull talked to one family who had water in their home.
After Saturday morning's heavy rain, this is what it looked like in Luke Buckner's house. He and many of his neighbors on South Washington Street are cleaning up after water rushed in.
We saw the weather, of course, so we knew it was kind of coming, and basically without a lot of rainfall, we've known that that ditch will back up, and so we kind of expected it. But it was raining really hard. I was outside watching, and it wasn't too bad.
But then things changed for the worse.
Then the rain kind of stopped. It was kind of like it is now, and I was like, okay, we're okay. But next thing I know, I just see water coming flying down the ditch, and it just kept getting worse and worse and higher and higher and higher. Even though it wasn't even raining very hard, it just kept coming.
Before long, the rising water was creeping into the house and saturating their backyard.
It was above my boots. Probably can't see that either, so maybe 1 to 2 feet, 1.5 feet, something like that.
Buckner says his family and neighbors will spend the coming days trying to dry out and clean up their homes. Tyler Hull, WCBI News.
Now, between 2.5 to 3 inches of rain fell in the Starkville and Oktibbeha County area in a very short time frame. Oktibbeha County Emergency Manager Kristen Campanella says the county's road department is out of barricades. That's because the county has a lot of roadways underwater, especially unpaved areas. In fact, there's so much flash flooding statewide that there are no barricades even to borrow. Campanella is cautioning residents to be careful driving, especially during the overnight hours where water could be covering roadways and not be visible. Well, trees were reported down across mainly eastern Lowndes County. One of those trees fell on an apartment at Fountain Square. This happened on Yorkville Road East. Lowndes County Emergency Management Agency Director Cindy Lawrence says she received reports of at least 8 trees down across the county. There were several flooded roads in the New Hope area and also along Highway 45. Power lines were also down on Old New Hope Road. No injuries were reported in Lowndes County. Well, the first community to report damage from today's storm was Baldwin. Serious winds moved into Prentiss County just before 7 o'clock this morning. Trees were uprooted there and homes were damaged. Prentiss County EMA Director Bud Lindsay confirms there were 13 homes affected. One is a total loss in Baldwin. 2 residents there say there was debris and damage everywhere.
Around about 7-something or 8-something this morning, and stuff was just everywhere. When we come outside, we found these trees, and my car was smashed.
Roof damage, carport's gone, holes in the roof, tree damage.
After surveying the damage, the National Weather Service, that is, will determine if a tornado caused this damage. We will have more from those residents coming up tonight at 9 and 10. Overnight, a severe line of storms moved through Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. Thousands there remain without power. Lines are down, debris is in the road, and workers continue to try to clean up damaged areas in Houston, Texas, and Lafayette, Louisiana. Emergency crews responded to a swift water rescue near Fort Smith. Police there say crews rescued multiple juveniles from floodwaters. Eric Mitchell with FSPD said all of the children are safe. And here at home, the driver of a panel truck and his passenger walked away from this accident. This happened about 2 o'clock on Highway 82 near the Pickens County line. At the state line on Highway 75. The driver and the passenger were able to get out of the vehicle. No injuries have been reported. This accident remains under investigation. Just ahead, new graduates prepare for the final frontier. That story next on WCBI News at 6.
You're watching WCBI's News at 6 with Andrea Self.
Welcome back. This is a graduating class on the path for a stellar future. Friday, 13 men and women celebrated their completion of NASA's Artemis astronaut training program, and now the candidates are ready for future missions, which could include a trip to the moon and possibly the planet Mars. Dana Jacobson spoke with one of the recent graduates about the journey he just completed and about the amazing ones that could lie ahead.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
In 1969, astronaut Neil Armstrong captivated the world, making history as the first human to step foot on the lunar surface. More than a half-century later, NASA graduated the newest class of astronauts at the Johnson Space Center in Houston.
Without further ado, let's welcome the world's newest astronauts to the stage.
Raja Chari was one of 13 candidates chosen out of a record-setting 18,000 applicants to join the ranks as a NASA astronaut.
Honestly, I was wondering if maybe it was a prank call. You know, people think I'm being humble when I say I didn't expect to be called, but I honestly did not expect to be called.
Chari's class is the first to graduate under the Artemis program.
With Artemis, the whole plan is to have a sustainable infrastructure and to use the moon as a proving ground to go to Mars and beyond.
The hope is to send the next man and first woman to the moon by 2024. This would be the first manned mission to the moon since the 1970s. And if all systems are go, the astronauts will be able to stay on the moon's surface for extended periods of time, pushing the limits of human exploration.
That's, I think, what's most exciting to me is the idea of developing technology and honestly, things we don't even know about. Most of the discoveries on the space station and from Apollo are not things that the scientists originally expected. Some of the most brilliant things in terms of modern computing and stuff like that are things no one really anticipated. They just fell out of that effort. And so when you put American ingenuity and resources into that goal, I think we'll be amazed 20 years from now the things that fall out of that.
It is much quieter out there this evening, though unfortunately more rain is on the way. I'll let you know what we expect for the next week ahead coming up right here after the break.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
Things are quieting down across our area, and thankfully so, with the storms that have come on through. At Durham's Pharmacy in Vernon, Alabama, it is 59. We still have some breezy west winds in place. The cooler air is on the way. We're still in the low 60s to the south and east of Columbus, down to 46, though, in Oxford, 49 in Coffeyville. We also are seeing those winds continue out of the west here moving forth, and that will be the case. West winds will remain, I think, between 5 and 15 miles an hour for the next hour or so, but they will slowly diminish as we head into tonight. Here's a look at our radar and satellite in the area. Just a few lingering showers left. That is all we have left from it. There will likely be some clouds continuing into the evening, but our showers are all said and done. I won't rule out a few showers for the next hour or so, but we'll be cooling off with a mix of clouds throughout the rest of the night, down into the 40s. Many of us dropping down into the 30s overnight tonight. The low tonight in Columbus, I have us at 39. We'll get down to 38 in Aberdeen, 35 in Coffeyville, Oxford all the way down to 33. Still 43, though, in Aliceville and in Pickens County. As we go through our Sunday, then I do think we'll see some clouds out there. We may get more sunshine than this into the afternoon, but I'll advertise it as a mix of sun and clouds with variable winds generally under 5 miles an hour. Upper 50s and low 60s is where we're heading. No rain for us in the area. 60 will be the high in Columbus and in Macomb, 57 in Houston, 58 in Coffeyville, 55 in New Albany with variable winds between 3 and 8 miles an hour. Notice Futurecast into tonight and even to start our day tomorrow suggests there will be some clouds in the area. Futurecast for us says that more sunshine than not Sunday afternoon. We'll wait and see how that pans out. The rain will hold off, though, until Monday afternoon. Notice by lunchtime, clouds filling back in from the south, and likely by Monday evening, some scattered showers and a few storms out there. Not worried about a severe threat, but it likely will be the start of a soggy period here for us. I think we could see another 1, 2, perhaps 3 inches by the time we get to this time next week. The reason for that is our cold front does exit, but what happens is it stalls out to our south and east there, and it will actually on Monday start to lift back to the north and stall in our area. This front right here will be the focus for some rounds of showers and storms as we go through the next several days. What I'm looking at is not a washout here by any stretch of the imagination, but a chance for some scattered showers, perhaps some rumbles of thunder as we go through the weekend. We'll keep you updated if there's any changes to the forecast right here and on your WCBI mobile app.
All right, Jacob, thanks a lot. Artificial intelligence is improving, and it's not just for self-driving cars and robots. Kara Suboy looks at how AI is being integrated into everyday products.
Laundry is going high-tech. This new washer and dryer from LG uses artificial intelligence and sensors to detect the weight of the load and even identify the fabric. The machine then determines the optimal water temperature, duration, and motion of the wash.
All right, let's get some pants.
AI could also change the way we buy clothes. 3D cameras on this LG Smart Mirror concept scan your body for precise measurements. You can then choose the kind of clothes you want and see how they fit. Another company wants to make AI as lifelike as possible.
Neon is an artificial human.
Star Labs is developing virtual beings that specialize in human interaction.
In the future, where would you see a Neon work?
In a variety of areas. An easy one would be customer service, so banking, teaching, finance, in healthcare providing as well.
The company believes neons could also become TV anchors, movie actors, or just a personal friend.
Essentially like what we're doing right now, that it's a face-to-face conversation and it feels very natural.
Artificial intelligence, it's got to be one of the biggest trends this year.
Absolutely. I think AI is bigger than ever here at the show.
CNET's Roger Chang says it's even growing in the farming industry.
It's a very, very intelligent vehicle.
This John Deere self-steering tractor can tell the difference between plants and weeds. It's equipped with dozens of robotic sprayers.
Each of those robots is making decisions about how much they need to spray, how big the droplet sizes need to be so that the plants receive it well, and when do they need to shut on or off so that they only apply chemicals where chemicals are needed.
The company says that will ultimately make farming more efficient. I'm CNET's Kara Suboy for CBS News, Las Vegas.
Ole Miss off to a slow start in conference play. Courtney has more on the Rebels when we come back.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
14 games into the season, and Ole Miss men's basketball has been underwhelming. So far, the Rebels are 9-5 on the season, 0-1 in SEC play. On the surface, the problem is simple. Ole Miss is struggling to score. The Rebels ranked 232 out of 350 teams in the NCAA in scoring, averaging 69.5 points per game. Now, to compare, the NCAA tournament team from last season was ranked 171 out of those 350 teams, averaging 75.3 points per game. Second-year head coach Kermit Davis has noticed that his squad has regressed and shared his thoughts. Take a listen.
We reverted back to before I got the job. And that's no reflection on anybody. It's just that's all we talked about last year. And so we're a team that doesn't play as hard as we would like. I said it before. You know, it hurts me because all the teams that I've had in the last 10 or 12 years have had toughness and physicalness and played with great body language. I love teams that play with an edge and play with passion. And so when it goes a little bad for us right now, our leadership is not great. And so we've got a lot of areas that we've got to improve in.
Speaking of underwhelming, the same goes for Mississippi State men's basketball. After starting the season 9-3, the Bulldogs have suffered an 0-2 start in SEC play. The back-to-back losses coming at the hands of Auburn and Alabama, MSU being outscored by a combined 33 points between the two games. Not the situation any team would want hosting the defending SEC champs LSU, especially right now. LSU starting off 10-4 and an 2-0 start in SEC. The Tigers are also the second-best team out of 7 in the SEC West. MSU head coach Ben Howland saying his teams need to slow down and make smarter shots.
We're shooting too fast. I mean, you know, you go back and watch it. I mean, we're when we pass the ball 4 times or more, we're 9 for 15 from the field. When we pass it less, we're like 23 for 66. You know, it's a huge difference. And in fairness, we are missing some open jump shots. I mean, we have missed a few. I would say that, you know, when I go back and I haven't counted it specifically, but of those shots that we missed, I would say, you know, 7, 8 were, you know, like wide open, really good looks.
Alabama in a big one this afternoon. The Crimson Tide on the road to play 14th ranked Kentucky midway through the first half. One possession game forward Nick Richards with the 2-hand slam. The Wildcats lead 26-21. A few possessions later, Alabama loses it. Guard Ashton in to collect out. To guard Emmanuel quickly bottoms. It's 37-28 Kentucky, and a minute in the half. Guard Tyrese Maxey from deep, money. Wildcats with a 12-point lead, 44-32. Second half, forward Herbert Jones fighting for 2, makes it a 59-54 game. Kentucky in the lead. And under 4 minutes to go, Jones driving to the rim, makes the tough shot. It's 66-62 Kentucky. And next possession, Bama guard John Petty Jr. from downtown It's 69-65 Wildcats, but Kentucky sealing it a minute to go, quickly on the wing. Buckets. The Wildcats hold on to beat the Crimson Tide with a final of 74-67. Bama falling to 8-7 on the season, 1-2 in SEC play. That's it for sports. We'll have more for you when we come back. Stay with us.
Our storm system that has left the area has brought over 600 reports of damage the last 24 hours. A lot of that wind damage, of course, the tornadoes as well. Locally, if you want updates on all of those reports, we've got a story on our website, WCBI.com, and on your mobile app.
All right, particularly for our neighbors in Pickens County, the cleanup process begins for them right now and trying to recover.
And more than cleanup as well, there's families that this is a sad day that they'll unfortunately have to remember for a long time, so our thoughts and prayers go out to them.
All right, and coming up tonight, a lot of folks will be watching that Titans game.
Yeah,
Homeboys are playing.
Everyone's definitely excited for that. You know, Ole Miss's
telling us we gotta
A.J.
go.
Brown is going to be...